Hi everyone, welcome back to Earl Grey Books. I'm Ellie and today it is time for my April haul revisit. Couple of things I want to talk about before we get into the books. Firstly, we sort of tilted the camera today. The sun is just in a really weird spot, like a really awkward spot. So yeah, we just had to tilt a little bit. I have new hair. I love my new hair. I'm very excited. And so those are the non-book things. As for the book things, I did a video. Oh, also, I meant to apologize about the books and the suitcase. I could have moved them, but I didn't. So I'm pretty sure if I move the suitcase, there's just more shit back there. So the books and the suitcase kind of hide a bigger mess. So the other day I did a video talking about my quarterly check-in with my reading goals, and I talked about my haul revisits and how basically I've been pretty much disregarding them. Like, I've been filming them and I've been really excited about the books, and then I've just like not read the books. So going forward, we're going to change some things. April is kind of a once-off month because of reasons we're going to get into. But going from May, I'm going to kind of have a more solid plan, I think. I'm going to use April to come up with what that plan is because I have no idea right now. But moving on, in May, I'm going to a book festival. This is my 5th or 6th time maybe of going to this festival, so I know what to expect. It's all secondhand books. I'm going with two of the worst people I possibly could go with this year. My best friend Angel and my dad's partner, who are both extremely bookish, and also will just like be like, hey, just buy the book, you'll read it. So yes, I'm going in with a game plan, which is to set myself a number of books that I can buy, and I'm not allowed to go over that limit. I will kind of do a 10 to 15, for example, but I'm going to grab that number from the amount of books that I read from this haul revisit, as well as the ones that any that I read from Jan, Feb or March. Those ones are a little different. I have 23 of those. Don't expect to get through all of them, but what I'm thinking I might end up doing is for every 2 books from those I read, I can buy one, just so that I am not just matching. You know, like, I'm hopefully going to come home with less books to add to my TBR than what I've read in April. So that being said, I have 10 books from April 2020. This was kind of, obviously March, we went into lockdown. I bought a lot in March, but I also had quite a bit filter over into April that I bought and that just didn't arrive. So we're going to go into it. One of the things I did do, I think really from March, April and May, I kind of went on a little bit of a non-fiction buying spree. So I have 4 left over here. I think I had 3 or 4 in March, and I think I have a few more in May. I may have read more from May, I'm not really sure. But yes, we're going to get into those. So we'll do the 4 non-fiction and then the rest are fiction. So first one here is Wanderlust by Rebecca Solnit, A History of Walking. So this is about walking. On the back it mentions like Elizabeth Bennet and surrealists. So sounds like it's going to be an interesting book. I know things about both of those things. This is possibly going to be a little bit of a difficult book in terms of the writing in this. Like the font is tiny. Like, it's like size like 7 or 8 font. So it's not like a big book, but then with that like size, it's gonna take a while. So I'm filming this on the last day of March. I think I am going to start this tonight and hopefully read a chapter or two so that I've at least got a little bit of a start on it, because I would really like to finish this one. This is the last Rebecca Solnit that I have on my shelves right now, and this is gonna kind of be the make or break for her, I think. I really love some of hers. I really didn't like other ones. So this is going to kind of be a decider of, do I choose to buy any more in the future? Do I continue to look out for them? Or do I just not? So we will see how that one goes. Then we kind of get into a little bit of a theme of like revisionist and alternate perspectives on history that aren't really heard. So first up, I have Sea People. Sorry that you can't really see this one because of the white cover, but this is by Christina Thompson. This is The Puzzle of Polynesia. I know it talks about Hawaii, Easter Island and New Zealand and a bunch of things in the Polynesian Triangle. So it talks about history, colonial history, I believe First Nations history as well, I hope. Yeah, and people talking about language and myths, I believe, as well. Very interested to see what this one is like. I don't really know a lot of history about this particular area. In school we did the wars and we did Australian history, and even that was like white male Australian history. So yes, excited. This one has got a bit of a bigger font, but also one that I'm going to start in a few days, because I also think this one might take me a little while. But I'm really in a non-fiction mood, so I should be enjoying those, I think. Next up we have Not All Dead White Men: Classics and Misogyny in the Digital Age by Donna Zuckerberg. So this is, let me just read the quote from the Time here. Time. I think it's just Time. Explores how ideas about ancient Greece and Rome are used and misused by anti-feminist thinkers today. Excited. Should be good. And then last one for non-fiction, this is The Whole Picture, The Colonial Story of the Art in Our Museums and Why We Need to Talk About It by Alice Proctor. It's basically what it sounds like. I don't know whether this one has a particular focus on Australian history. So it says at the back here that she is Australian but grew up in Hong Kong and London. I know it talks about her working in London, so I don't know. This may have an Australian take on it, it may not. We shall see. And then we're moving into the fiction. So let's start up. I have 2 YA and then everything else is adult. So I have The Grief Keeper by Alexandra Villasente. I think this is possibly the most beautiful cover that I own. I'm obsessed with it. I've talked about it before. This is definitely one that I am going to be prioritizing this month because I've been putting it off for a year now and I am really genuinely excited about it. So I should do it. I should bite the bullet and read it. And then I also have Blood Air by Emily Wenzel. This month, I think I only have another one here. I made an order with The Book Grocer, which is like a discount bookstore here in Australia, and I buy very, very occasionally from them when there is something that I am interested in trying but am not sure that I'm going to enjoy, or things that I just haven't seen elsewhere. So this one I'm not sure if I'm going to like it or not, but I will give it a go. And then the other one that I also got from them was Jade City by Fonda Lee. So I picked this one up. This is an adult fantasy, not really the thing I would usually go for. I've heard amazing things about it, but also, so in December of 2019, I bought my brother an Audible subscription. He's really into fantasy. He really liked like Game of Thrones and things like that. So I asked friends for recommendations. A lot of people mentioned Jade City. So I thought that I would give this a go and then I would tell my brother about it. And like, obviously, I kind of know what my brother enjoys. So yeah, that was my thought process. I also wanted to read it for myself even before that. So I haven't done that. I also never told my brother about it, so yeah. But we're gonna read it this month. This was a biggin, but I'm gonna do it. Okay, let's talk about this one, and then I have two Aussies. So I have Sharks in the Time of Saviors by Kawaii Strong Washburn. So this is a book set, I believe, in Hawaii and in the US, the mainland US. And yes, I don't really know much else about it. But yeah, that's it. But we're gonna give it a go. And then these last two were part of what I mentioned before about the books that I'd been like putting off until last month, which is these two here. And the reason for that was because these are both Australian fiction by Australian women writers that came out last year, and thus I was like, hey, these could make the Stella. So I won't read them in case they do, because then I'd have to read them on the long list. And hey, what do you know? The Animals in That Country by Laura Jean McKay did make the long list. Did it make the short list? I can't remember. I run a book club about this and I can't remember it. But this wasn't one of the ones that I was discussing. I have a co-host for that book club, and we were doing all 12 books on the long list. So, you know, we split it up into 6, and this was not one of the ones that I was discussing. So I just put it off, and I am going to read it in April. Okay, and the other one, final one, was Almost a Mirror by Kirsten Krauth. This one didn't make the long list, and this is also probably the one on this list that is at the bottom of the pile, just because I have been reading a lot of Australian literary fiction this month because of the Stella, and I just don't know that when I come to the end of the month whether I will still want to be reading that. So this is, I know I'm going to read this, so it's going to be like at the end of the month, and if I'm in the mood, I will read it. If I'm not in the mood, I won't. Simple. Okay, so that is everything. I'm pretty excited about these books. I will link the playlist down below of all of the haul revisits that I have done so far this year, if you're interested in seeing some of the other books that I may or may not be reading. And I will see you all on whatever the next day is. Yeah, Monday? I think Monday is the next video. I will be doing my wrap up if it is Monday, or if it's Friday, I will still be doing the wrap up. Who knows? Yep. Okay. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you then. Bye.